Views expressed in this podcast are solely those of the participants. The hosts make no claim to be literary experts, and their opinions are exactly that, opinions. All creative works discussed or reviewed are the intellectual property of the creators of said stories and is being used under the fair use doctrine.
Hello and welcome to Of Swords and Soulmates, a podcast where we read, watch, and discuss romantasy stories. I'm one of your hosts, Mari, and with me I have Kelly.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly. We also have Ashley.
Hey guys, it's Ashley. We also have Jonathan.
Hey everybody, it's JP. How's everybody doing tonight?
Pretty good. It is basically Halloween season upon us because that's the next big holiday. So I'm ecstatic. Boo.
You get me every time with that.
Every time.
Good times, good times. So today we're going to be discussing Filthy Rich Fae by Geneva Lee. But first, as always, we're going to go over some news. We don't have a lot of news in terms of a lot of different content, but we've got some big things that have happened lately, for sure. I think, So starting with the big one is SJM, Sarah J. Maas, announced on her Instagram profile, she had a little picture, that she had finished writing the next ACOTAR book, ACOTAR Book 6, maybe. And so now, of course, all that has to be edited and all that stuff. I say maybe because the way it's showing in the picture says ACOTAR 6. And then I thought, when I saw it, I thought it was an arrow, like 6 and like ongoing or 6 inside or whatever. I know people have been talking, saying that they thought that it was 6 to 8. I don't know if you guys have heard that.
Yeah, there's a whole like rabbit hole.
Handwriting analysis.
Yeah, I got baited into it. Somebody
I figured you'd be
posted,
all about it.
The title of the book,
and
it was not. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think that that's the title. It was A Court of Watery Bowels.
No.
Yeah, that's not that. I was fooled.
Yeah,
the internet got me.
That's HHN.
And so then there's also like reverse speculation, because there's a lot of diehards that would argue only 4 books released, and that, you know, the small one,
Frost,
the novella, is like 3.5. Yeah. And so some people are like, well, she's written 2 books, and that's book 5 and book 6, and that the grammar in her posting would also like it wouldn't be accurate if it was just a single book, is what they were saying, because they said drafts, like and that it was one? Just that it meant more than one book or something like that. So there's some conspiracy theorists that would argue that this is going to be that she's written book 5 and 6, but then others, like you said, are saying 6 through 8, which seems like a lot, but who am I?
But I mean, if you're wrapping it up, or if you're interconnecting other series with it, you do have to plan ahead some.
Yeah.
And it has been
for sure.
But 4 years now. So Court of Silver Flames was the last one that came out, which was book 5 in that series. I know she's written Crescent City since then, but the last ACOTAR one was Court of Silver Flames. That was 2021.
I was going to say that was full pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm. That was in the middle of all that. So, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if it's just going to be one that's going to be released, or if we're going to get some sort of release dates or release schedule for more of them. I think it's going to depend, of course, on how long it takes to edit them. And then all the other speculation, like, is it going to be from someone else's viewpoint? Who's going to be the main focus of it? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Kelly, which book are you on in that series?
None. I only read the first one.
Yeah. Kelly said no thanks.
Yeah, I'm the same. We're in the same spot.
You gave up? Oh, ACOTAR.
Yeah.
I'm thinking TOG.
No. TOG, I'm good. But yeah.
Well, if nothing else, when book 6 comes out, Ash, because you're up through 5, right? You've read all of them that are out now?
So I have not. No.
Okay.
I have not. I stopped at book 3 because I realized that it wasn't finished and I panicked. So I've not read the novella, and I've not read A Court of Silver Flames.
Okay.
And then I started the deep dive into Throne of Glass, and I just started Queen of Shadows on Throne of Glass.
Yeah, we got to get back to Throne of Glass at some point after all the Romanticon books.
Yeah,
because I would like us to finish
so
it
good,
as
and
a podcast.
It flows so well.
Yeah,
even for it being like considered YA, I feel like.
Yeah, I really do enjoy that series. Well, if nothing else, one thing we can maybe think about doing as a podcast is maybe getting a few people together, guests we've had on in the past or whatnot, who have read it, and then just kind of talking about book 6 without necessarily going through books 2 through 5 as a group, if we're not going to do that as a podcast, so we can just kind of talk about the new one when it comes out, whenever that date is. So we can figure that out. All right. Anything else about the ACOTAR news anybody want to talk about?
No,
Yeah.
I've only gone down one rabbit hole. When I go down more, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is, am I the only one that it bothers that we call it ACOTAR?
Yes.
Even though every other book is like different? Like
Yes, you're the only one it bothers.
ACOWIF and...
I mean, that's the name of the series. The series is ACOTAR. The ACOTAR series, isn't it? Isn't that like the official name of it?
A lot of times a series...
This is my disconnect. And I apologize to everybody for this.
A series is often known by whatever the first iteration of it is.
Right.
It's the Star Wars saga. They didn't start calling, A New Hope separate until all the movies had come out.
Right.
So
True.
it was always
I mean,
just
I
called
get his
Star
question,
Wars.
right? Because the Fourth Wing series is arguably the Empyrean series. And so, she's been very clear about that since the beginning. But I don't think Sarah J. And, we just said TOG, right? And we knew that we were talking about the complete series. So I think Sarah J. Maas, her series are just the book 1. And then that's the name of the series for the rest of us because there are so many.
Yeah.
But good question.
The creator doesn't often get to pick the name of something. It's whatever the people who read it, watch it, etc. start calling it.
That's true.
We're in charge.
All right. Other news, little tidbit I had was Sin-Lin Yu, who wrote the Alchemized book that's going to be coming out. It's going to be doing book signings and participating in panels at San Diego Comic-Con, which is coming out. I mean, it's happening a few days after the release of this episode. So I assume San Diego Comic-Con is like the other California Comic-Cons where you kind of have to buy tickets way in advance. So if you have tickets in RFN, you may want to check her out. If you don't have tickets in RFN, you might be out of luck. I don't know. But basically you have to have a ticket to the Comic-Con event to be able to go to her panels or her book signing. But she is doing book signings, and she's going to be participating in several panels. On her website and her Instagram page, she's got like a list of what panels she's going to be at and when all her table signings are going to be. So,
but what is she signing?
That's a great question. I assume it's like
it just dawned on me that it's happening so soon.
Like like a book plate, maybe. I assume like some authors do. Well, they'll do like that sticker book plate thing that you can then put in the book, I guess, after you get it.
Oh,
so
do you think they're going to be people brave enough to bring manacles?
I mean, maybe. If I were going, I absolutely would.
Heck yeah! I didn't realize that it was like this month.
Yeah. And like I said, I assumed San Diego Comic-Con is one of the bigger ones where you have to buy tickets like a year in advance kind of thing. But if anyone is going and is a fan and wasn't aware, that's something you might want to be looking for. Or if you have someone in your life that's a fan, that might be a great gift for them. So
I didn't realize she had so many fan fictions.
I haven't read anything of hers other than Manacled. So...
Well, I'm a masochist and I will let you know.
Next thing is, other big romantasy news, is the Fourth Wing TV show, the Amazon show, has a new showrunner that they've announced. It's going to be Jack Schaefer. She did Agatha All Along and WandaVision, which I really enjoyed both of those. I thought they were very well done.
Very well done.
So I'm excited as to potentially the direction that this is going to go. I mean, we don't have any more details than that. And, it'll still take a while for us to get any details, but it feels like it's becoming more real,
I mean, I guess I was a little concerned that there was already, it's only been a year since they announced the last showrunner, right? And so here we are with new blood, and I'm not opposed. But I just wonder why the change.
I think a lot of that's my understanding, and my understanding of Hollywood stuff is basically just what you read after the fact, But my understanding is a lot of these projects take a really long time to do. And so you may have someone semi-committed to it, but if, you're setting to do this a year from now and they commit to it, but then it ends up being 2 years from now or 3 years from now, and they've already committed to another project that's actually happening,
I guess that's fair.
Like, was it Guillermo del Toro was supposed to, I believe, direct? Wasn't he supposed to direct like one of the Lord of the Rings movies or something, or The Hobbit?
Really?
He was supposed to direct something, and he ended up not doing it because by the time they were ready to do it, and he had like semi-committed to it, he was in the middle of doing Crimson Peak. So, I think change-arounds happen a lot just depending on like what big projects people end up being actually in the middle of at the time that everything else that has to come together for a show starts to come together,
Yeah.
So we'll
No,
see.
I guess put that way, it makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, it's fairly early on. Like I said, haven't done casting. I don't know if that they even have like a person picked who's going to be doing casting. I don't think they have a whole lot of the talent lined up yet. You know what I mean? So I think we're a ways from that.
Yeah. I mean, I know Rebecca's talked about, the script that she's read, at least some of the script, if not all, and that she's, enthusiastic and optimistic about what she's seen so far. And there's definitely been a lot of fan casting.
Yes.
And a lot of rumors.
Is fan casting when people fight over stuff?
No, when people like pick who their choices are.
I think this actor would make a good blah blah blah, or make a good this character or that character.
Yeah.
So
and then they take sides and stuff, and they get all upset at each other.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes.
Yeah. I'm against fan casting because of that. I just think that people nobody likes I shouldn't say nobody. People choose sides and then they jump all over another person because they chose somebody they don't like. This is the person I see as this. Yeah, but is what comes out. It's just like kick the hornet's nest.
Yeah,
think fan casting.
I think that I don't think there's anything wrong with fan casting, because I do think it's natural when you read something to have a vision in your head of what you think that person's going to look like. And a lot of times where that comes from is people we've seen, on TV or movies or whatever. So I don't think that's that unusual. I think ultimately, if the author is behind whoever is officially cast, then they've given it the seal of approval. I saw some TikTok thing where people were saying, so the Black Dagger Brotherhood show came out, just finished up. The season just finished up. And there are people complaining that the actors that they cast for the main vampires were like not the right people and not the people that they thought, and not as buff as they thought they were supposed to look like or whatever. But ultimately, and like the big thing is ultimately the author said that this was perfect. Like these people that were cast were perfect. So I think so long as they get the author input, if the author agrees with whoever's cast, then the rest is just, people can fan cast whoever they want. It's like fan fiction, but I mean, there's no right or wrong. You can't argue about it. You know what I mean? Not really.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't argue about it, but people do.
Yeah.
So just to recap, it's the readers who name the book series, and it's the authors who choose what we envision. Check. Just making sure. That's a joke. I'm just playing around.
Nobody said it made sense.
Yeah.
Why are you looking for logic?
I've lost all sense.
Yeah. But speaking of the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, that's the last little bit of tidbit of news that we have, is that J.R. Ward, who wrote the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, is releasing a romantasy series. As far as I could tell, and I've only ever read some of her Black Dagger Brotherhood books. I'm up to like book 7, I believe now. But as far as I can tell, she hasn't done any other romantasy stories. I think everything has been kind of a paranormal urban fiction kind of thing, like the Black Dagger Brotherhood. And then she's got some series that are kind of take place in the same world. And I think she may have like a historical fiction series. So this will be her first kind of steps into romantasy. It's going to be a 4-part series, 4 books. The series is the series as a whole is going to be called the Kingdoms of the Compass series. And the first book is The Crown of War and Shadows. It's due out February 17th of 2026.
I don't think I've read J.R. Ward.
My first reading of hers was when I started reading the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, because the show was coming out. And I was like, oh, it's a vampire series I didn't hear about. I like vampires. The series has been around for a minute. Book 23 in that series is coming out this year. So that gives you an idea. But I heard that the TV show is coming out. I'm like, well, let me at least read the first book before I decide whether I'm not going to watch the show. And I ended up liking the book. Even though it is dated, you got to realize it's a product of when it was written. But it was still, I thought, a good book. And I ended up enjoying it. And like I said, I'm enjoying the rest of them. I'm right now, I'm still planning on continuing them. I'm on book 7 and plan to finish it. So
interesting.
Yeah.
We love a commitment.
This book looks pretty. I mean, it looks like a lovely looking. It would definitely capture my attention. I don't enjoy the naming convention of this, and part of that is because I feel like ACOTAR owns this naming convention now. But then, like, looking at the photo of the author, she's giving off super Meryl Streep, Devil Wears Prada vibes, and I like that.
She very much gives me those vibes. Yeah, if you ever see any of her in person, like video of her doing interviews and stuff, she has a very strong personality. Yeah, I think she's really cool. I think a blank of blank and blank is very common in romantasy. Like, I think it's just, if you're going to try and launch a romantasy, series, I think it's an easy way to, like, put the romantasy sticker on it. You know what I mean? To make sure that it's firmly in that genre. And I believe this is done through Bramble. So I don't know. There may have been some input they had on, like, how the naming convention was done. I don't know. So I'm planning on reading.
You got to have this syllable count.
Right.
Which is probably, that's how I'm not going to lie. That's how I would look at it. Like, I have a theory that if you have a round circle, like just a circle on the front of your book, of your self-help book, it's going to sell more. I don't even care what's in that circle. Just circle, sell books. If you're a publisher and you're out there, circle, sell books, and follow the syllable count of ACOTAR.
At least if you're in romantasy, I think it is very much an expectation in romantasy. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I will be. It'll be interesting to see, because the Black Dagger Brotherhood is in a very modern kind of setting. Like, I think it starts in the 90s. When I say modern, I mean like modern-ish. Versus this series seems to be like a straight up fantasy series, more of a traditional fantasy romantasy type of series rather than any modern influence on it. So we'll see where it goes. But speaking of J.R. Ward, her author shop is going live a few days after this episode goes out too. It's going live on July 19th. So I don't know what all kind of merch she'll have on there, but if you're interested in any of her works, I would check out her shop after the 19th.
Good to know.
Yeah. Anybody else have any news?
I heard that, I don't know if this is true news, but this could just be gossip. I heard that there was a Comic-Con and GalaxyCon in New Orleans. I heard that day one, it was pretty much a bust. Like, people were not, the vendors were starting to, like, get a little freaked out by the quality of crowd, like, marketing. But everything I can find when I start to research it and dig deeper, like, the fans are like, hey, had a great time. Hey, this is great. And I'm looking at the pictures to see, like, if it's just you, if I go to like a Comic-Con and it's just me, I'm going to have a great time because I get to spend all this time with people. But the pictures show people in the background. So I don't know how much truth there is to it, or if it was somebody just trying to start some drama. But yeah, I don't know.
So, but like, were they upset that like people weren't showing, like it wasn't heavy crowds?
That's what some of the social media posts on like TikTok from the POV of the vendors, some of the like the book in the book section, like that's what, so like on Book Talk, it popped up for me. I know it's like they're loose, they fit together every now and again, right? But like that, I was like, that like struck me as interesting. So I'd like to, so maybe not, maybe there's an element of truth in there, but keep your eyes on the horizon. If it breaks, if it's like a big thing and like and all these authors were like, hey, this was terrible, you heard it here first. If it doesn't, and I'm way off base and it was just like a handful of people trying to make a scene, then, hey, blame those people, not me.
Well, I will say GalaxyCon is different from Comic-Con. So, like, my understanding, and Kelly, you may know more about this than I do, but Comic-Con, I believe, is like a marketing entity. Like a Comic-Con there's an official Comic-Con, but not all fantasy or comic conventions are Comic-Con. So if it was named GalaxyCon, it probably wasn't an official, like a Comic-Con event, which I'm not saying is better or worse. So Comic-Con has, depending on where it is, like, New York or wherever, they're very large. They're very well attended by the public, and they tend to, because they are such a big marketing entity, they tend to pull in big movie stars and whatnot. But you also have smaller cons that happen in places throughout the country, probably throughout the world, but throughout the country for sure, that kind of have some of the same formula of Comic-Con, but they're smaller. So like a lot of them are smaller fan-run type events. Like MegaCon in Orlando is smaller than Comic-Con. It's not Comic-Con. It's still fairly large and has a very similar model to Comic-Con. But like, for example, DragonCon that I go to in Atlanta is a fan-run event that's structured differently than Comic-Con. So you're going to have panels, you're going to have a place to shop, and you're going to have cosplay. Those are kind of common things at all these types of events. But whether or not the main focus is on, say, you have this one website where you pay X amount of dollars for all these things, and you're in this one spot for this hour to this hour, and you're over here for this hour to this hour, versus a more freeform event. So Comic-Con tends to be very highly structured, and you pay for everything.
But GalaxyCon is also a system of cons too, like San Diego Comic-Con,
Okay.
New York Comic-Con. So there's GalaxyCon in Columbus. There's GalaxyCon this year in New Orleans, which was the first year I think they had one in New Orleans, which is possibly why the attendance was low.
Could be.
I mean, it just happened, and, you know, July is not necessarily a great year to be in New Orleans.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
real hot.
great time to be in New Orleans. It's just hot. Plus, I mean, the trend in 2025 has been that conventions attendance is not as good as it's been in
Really?
the past. Part of that is because of in bigger cons, you have less people coming from overseas. Like CES, attendance was way down this year because you didn't have a lot of people coming over from China, coming over from Japan, etc.
That's CES, Consumer Electronics.
Yeah. Several medical conferences, attendance has been down just because, you know, finances are getting tight. So people are opting not to come, especially people who pay their own way at these medical conferences.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And I wonder, too, if it was moved, like you said, where was it before? Was it Columbus, Georgia, or Columbus, Ohio?
Ohio.
Okay. So think about it. If it was in Columbus, Ohio, is it in the same spot year after year normally?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're still having one in Columbus this year.
Okay.
I think it was just they added one in New Orleans, is my understanding.
Because you got to think about it. If someone does go to it every year, or they're planning to go to it, and it's within driving distance to them, and all of a sudden there's another one that you have to fly to, that's a whole different level of.
Right, and they're having it looks like
barriers
there's
for
also
some
a
people.
Galaxy Con that's going to be in San Jose and one in Raleigh, North Carolina as well.
Okay.
So, you know, if this is just the first time in New Orleans, you know,
In July.
it just may not have been the ideal time to have a conference in New
Yeah.
Orleans.
No, I agree. Like I said, I wasn't there, so I don't have any like hardcore proof on this. I just saw some social media posts, some TikToks going around authors there or booksellers or vendors who were just like, hey,
Right.
this isn't what I signed up for. I hope it changes.
I think finances
So
are playing a big role.
that's just their POV. Maybe the rest of it was amazing. So
Well, I think finances play a big role in people's choice in attending a conference.
Yeah.
You know, if your finances are tighter this year and, you know, you went to 3 conventions last year and now you can only go to 2, who's going to make the cut?
Right. It's true. It's true. Well, we will see. That'll be a developing news. Anything else anybody wants to talk about in the news?
I saw a rumor
Mm-hmm.
about 3 hours ago, and the rumor was that on Goodreads, there was an Empyrean number 4 listed as releasing in November 2025.
What?
I did not get a chance to validate said rumor today. We were a little busy.
what's the source of that?
It was TikTok, but they were showing like screenshots of. I
It's
know
there right now. I'm pulling it up now. It is
The
right.
book talkers don't lie.
I'm looking at it right now. It is
Right now?
it is right now. It's still up. Imperium number 4 by Rebecca Yarros. Not yet published. Expected 30 November 25.
That's wild.
Interesting. Do you want me to go sit outside Target right now? Hold on, stop.
Get ahead of that. Yeah, we don't shop at Target, but we will for this.
Just in case there's 2 different versions of
I mean,
edges.
special releases and whatnot.
Yeah.
So Rebecca, I don't know what you're up to, ma'am. 2 books in 1 year again. You said you weren't doing it.
You know, didn't I see that she did release? She's doing a giveaway, and she released a new. Was it like Owl Crate or something like that?
I don't think it was
Or
Owl
fourth week?
Crate. I don't know if it was Owl Crate, but I did see that she was doing like new sprayed edges.
Oh, this
For
was
book
like,
1 and book 2.
this was that too, but there was a new like very limited edition.
Oh, I don't know.
Version of Fourth Wing.
So
It was like all black binding and stuff.
that could be interesting. I am a sucker for black binding, especially if it's black binding with like gold or silver shiny foiling. sold. That is the
Take
way
my
to my
money.
bookcase. Yes. It's interesting that there are 790 ratings on this posting on Goodreads that is literally nothing. But there's
Yep.
790 ratings, none of which are talking about an arc. So it's not like there's an advanced reader copy that anyone has read. Why? How? Like,
I don't know. I saw it pop
Come
up on my
on.
feed today and I was like, that's interesting.
mhm.
And then it was like 2025 and I was like, that's way more interesting
Yeah.
because she said she wasn't doing it.
I mean, unless she got over, I know she was having a lot of anxiety, and maybe she was able to work through that and get it out. Who knows? So we'll see.
Listen, if she spits out 4 books in the time that Sarah hasn't released anything in 5 years, Sarah's got some splaining to do.
Yeah, I'll drop this link to this in our chat real quick.
I mean,
I suspect that the date is definitely wrong.
yeah.
But I wonder how far out we are now from book 4 because I was definitely anticipating like 27.
Yeah. Well, my TBR is forever long. There'll be plenty of things to read in between. And yeah, I mean, I think we'll enjoy them when they come out. So I'm excited to get some books by authors that we enjoy, but all in their good time.
You may want to look at the video from that giveaway because it looks to me like a very beautifully styled.
Now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like solid black mark. You got to check that out.
It comes in a solid black case, but when you open it up, it's got all the dragon scale colorways across the front in a rainbow.
I think it's her giveaway.
And then on the back, it does have a gold spine, and then the back is all black. It looks lovely. And so you might be familiar with this. Is it Fabulistic?
I don't think I've ever gotten anything by that company. It's Fabulistic is how I would pronounce it, but I haven't gotten anything by them. That is really pretty and almost like a little rainbow dragon scale. Okay.
And there's
like a
there's
burnished
a few
gold
other editions
inside.
coming out.
Very pretty, very pretty. Interesting. We'll see. I have finite space, and I already have several very pretty versions of it since I got like the special edition one, and then I got the one that she signed. So now I have to keep them both. So we'll see. But yeah, it looks really pretty. So we'll see what else they release. Anything else news-wise before we move on?
Nope, that was it.
All right, so we are going to be talking about Filthy Rich Fae. We started reading this because we wanted to go ahead and start reading some of the authors that were going to be at the Fabled Fantasy Romantasy Con event that's happening in Orlando in October. And this is one of the authors that's going to be there. When I suggested this book, I didn't realize that this series is kind of a spin-off series of another one of her series, which is Filthy Rich Vampires, I believe. So my bad. But I don't think it necessarily suffered too much by not having read the first series. It's like a 4-part series. I think it's billed as a standalone. Just if you want more context, there's more. All right, so this was published June 25th, 2024. It's part of the Filthy Rich Fae series, which is 2 books. And let me read the synopsis and then we'll get into it. In New Orleans, one rule stands above the rest. Never cross the Gage crime family. Their word is law. Their enemies disappear, and their prince, lethal, beautiful, and utterly inhuman, does not grant mercy. Kate Holloway has spent her life avoiding them, until her brother makes a mistake that cannot be undone. Now, to save him, she must face Lachlan Gage, the dark prince of the city's underworld. But Lachlan doesn't deal in money or favors. He deals in souls. Bound by a bargain she never wanted, Kate is dragged into a world she never should have seen, where shadows whisper secrets, Fae courts plot in the dark, and her captor is far more than just a crime lord. With only 30 days to break the curse that binds her, Kate has 2 choices: outwit the ruthless Fae who holds her fate, or surrender to the dangerous temptation he offers. Because if she falls, she won't just lose her soul. She'll lose her heart to the one being she swore to hate. Spoiler warning, Kelly.
We've said several times, Maury, we're not doing spoiler warnings anymore.
Okay. I will take it out. What did we think of this overall?
I loved this book. And Jonathan mocks me for it, even though we're not supposed to yuck each other's yums. But I love this book. In fact, I loved it so much I was like, I wonder if book 2 is out. Oh, it is. This is great. What I didn't know is that it was a trilogy and book 3 is not out.
I didn't know that.
if I had to give any warning to anybody, you can finish book 1, but don't tread into book 2 because book 3's not out yet, guys.
Does book 2 end on a cliffhanger?
Book 2 ended not on a cliffhanger that I felt like book 1 ended on, but I needed more.
Okay.
It was, I could have held peacefully at book 1, and now I'm tortured after book 2.
They hooked you.
She got me good. So this was a solid 4 for me overall. I don't know if I would read it again, but I will definitely be finishing it, and I will probably dabble into her other worlds.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
Don't everybody jump at once.
I know.
I'll go now. I'll jump in. I'll dive in. I'll dive in face first. That's what I'm known for. I'm not looking, just leaping. I'm gonna give it a 3. I thought, Ashley did enjoy it, and it's cool. Ashley's favorite meal is also chicken nuggets and ketchup, right? So, she's giving me a look. That's poor bad husband thing. Is that what I did there? Sorry, my bad.
I'm giving you a look from here for her.
I'm sorry. No, I thought it was I thought it had potential. I thought it was an okay plot. I got lost. I feel like there was a chunk of the book that didn't need to be there, and then the chunk of book that did need to be there wasn't there. And like in the epilogue, I was like, "Hold on, what happened?" It went off the rails, took a turn. I didn't get there. It got there. I didn't get there.
Okay.
3.
Kelly, what'd you think?
I really didn't care for this book. I thought it jumped around a lot. I thought it didn't make sense in a lot of ways. Essentially, this was a Mafia book disguised as a Fae book. So I just wasn't my jam. I didn't really think the character development was all that great. And there were a lot of things that just kind of didn't work for me. And let me just say, I knew it was 100% fiction when somebody called a hospital CEO and just said, hire more nurses to fix your short staffing, and that magically happened, because that would never fucking happen.
That's correct. You're absolutely right, Kelly. That very intuitive of you. I definitely see recruiting reports, and it ain't that easy.
What would you give it, Kelly? What number did you give it?
2.
2. Yeah. I was not a huge fan as well. I had somewhat high hopes because I loved New Orleans. I was like, ooh, a Fae story set in New Orleans. I'm in. But I feel like this could have been set anywhere. It didn't have to happen in New Orleans. I think like Kelly, I feel like this was pretty much a Mafia love story. It's a Mafia romance. Nothing wrong with that. I just tend to not be a big fan of those. I don't think I've read any that I like. And there was too much like Mafia gunplay, like macho, real world-ish aspect of it to the story, and too little like Fae magic. Why is this even happening? Why are they collecting souls? What is going on for me? And if I wasn't reading it, like, I'm not going to give it a bad number, because I don't think it's the author's fault that I finished this book. I finished this book because of the podcast. If I had been reading it like on my own, I would have DNF'd it as soon as I realized how like Mafia romance heavy it is, just because that's not my jam. So for me, it was a 3. It was fine. It just wasn't for me. So what do we think about the world building?
I liked the perception of, Fae world versus real world. It definitely jumped around a lot. You had a lot of characters that you had to keep track of. You didn't get too deep into the lore in book 1. And he's definitely more like you were saying, like macho, like caveman, like super, hard-headed and stubborn, and why are we even here, right? So I think the world building, again, had a lot of potential, and I think this probably would have made a better visual story. Like we've said that a few times, I think, in the last year, is, TV series or even movie.
Yeah.
I think like that, to Jonathan's point, like the plot was there. I had just not been emotionally prepared for it being more than 2 books. So that was disappointing to me. But there's definitely a lot of jumping around, a lot of, intricate history too, that seems to be involved in each of the court's stories, and you don't really get a lot of insight into that in book 1. So I think the potential's there, and I'd give it a 3 for that. But it wasn't mind-blowing. It wasn't anything incredibly new. It wasn't anything, earth-shattering for me.
What do you think, Jonathan?
Oh, yeah. It felt like just a shitty city. Like, it felt, and he had control over the city. Like, we read other books that take New Orleans into account. Like, that's the space in which those books take place. But it didn't feel like it was like end of the world, like one family runs this town, Mafia style, right? Or at least that it's known. But yeah, it sounds like this is just like there's a forced blending of reality. It's maybe it ventures down like uncanny valley. It's a little too close. Like, it's like, leave out, like, I don't need to know if you've got a Range Rover or a Birkin bag. I want to know if you can live in like Metropolis. Like, come create the fake, you're in the southern part of the country, and give me an ambiguous space that you live in, and it can have some, like, you don't need the French Quarter, but maybe you got the France Quadrant, something like that, and you can take me, put my toe on the line, but when you take me into the reality space, and then you make it so far-fetched, like the idea that this is happening, it just maybe that's why it didn't work, and that's just speculation as to, like, I'm trying to think what makes other books or other series that have a similar approach work. I kept seeing, like, and then I kept struggling trying to, like, I had trope misidentification syndrome. I don't know if that's a thing.
Sorry.
Like, throughout this whole world space, I couldn't decide if it was like forced proximity, fated mates, or Stockholm syndrome. Like, I couldn't figure that out. And so then I kept getting detached the more I thought about it in this, like, and we didn't get, like, what was the name for the other place?
Which other place?
What do you mean?
There was like the Fae world and the real world.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other place called?
It was just fairy, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I'm
but
not
like
sure.
The idea that, like, you can go to this other place, I would have liked to hear more about going to this other space that, but it was like, hey, we can live here and we exist here, and that's cool, but it's kind of shitty over here. Let's go get some Wi-Fi. Like, and like that. I don't know. I'll tell you right now, I would give in. I get to live in that hotel. I'm yours. Take me. I'll be home every night. Cool. Curfew. What time? I'm not even leaving.
No questions asked.
No questions. I don't have to do anything. You got it. Cool. Anyway, for world building, I should give it a 2.
Okay. Kelly?
I think pretty much the same. I gave it a 2. I didn't think they did anything new and interesting. We just cribbed a bunch of the classic Fae stuff and gave them guns.
Guns.
I mean, really, a lot of it felt like it was cribbed somewhat from Underworld, where you had vampires in Underworld who had bullets that could kill werewolves, and werewolves developed bullets that could kill vampires, so it just became a shooting movie.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing. Oh, the Fae have developed bullets that can kill other Fae. Okay. I mean, I don't know how that really was all that dramatic, but whatever. It just, I don't know, just didn't do it for me. I didn't think that was the kind of world building I enjoyed, so I said it just had to be a 2.
Yeah. For me, I gave it a 3 just because I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, because I didn't realize that this series was like a sequel or an answer to her first series. So I'm making the assumption that some of the stuff may have been fleshed out and we just don't know about it. I feel like the author created a world with different courts and probably some different intricacies in the courts. I just don't feel like she brought that across to the reader. Like, I feel there was more that just didn't come across. I wanted to know more, but ultimately it felt very much like a, gang warfare, mafia warfare situation in a major city. So I just left it at average because I'm going on the benefit of the doubt that stuff was maybe more fleshed out in the vampire series before this. So I gave it a 3. What do we think about the romance?
This romance felt fairly typical of the fated mates trope. I mean, maybe there was a little bit more resistance, and you don't get a lot of a lot more detail in book 1, though you do in book 2. You definitely see, decisions that he made because of her. And I think the ending was probably a little bit more tragic and sacrificial than we've seen in a while. Like, it was almost, Edward Cullen disappearing or Edward Cullen getting himself deaded, right?
Yeah.
Because he thought Bella was dead or whatever.
Who's that?
Twilight? Gosh, I love you so much. You're so pretty. So yeah, I thought the romance, there was a little bit more resistance than we've seen in a while. I wasn't opposed to it. I thought it was a 3.
Jonathan, what'd you think?
Okay. 3. I had trouble with the trope. So I used, what did you say it was actually? Fated mates?
Mm-hmm.
So I had those 3 boxes ticked: the fated mates, forced proximity, and what was it? Stockholm.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, and so like here we are with the timeline and a day timeline, but much shorter than the last one. Although same book length, right? So like last time it was like a year and a day. Now it's a month and a day, and so here she is in this forced proximity because of a bargain that she made, but like they drop these like very basic hints throughout the whole book. He just keeps calling her princess. Okay, princess. Okay, princess. Okay, princess. And she's not like, and so from the start, like that's why I landed on like fated mates, because she didn't come to him in a pretentious way. Like when I always think of Spaceballs, when you when you have that pretentious princess and it's like, yeah, okay, princess, okay, like, all right, cool. I didn't get that vibe from her. So when after they had met that first time and he kept referring to her as princess, I was like, well, it's not really fitting for, she's the opposite of this pretentious being. She doesn't want what he's offering. She wants to save someone that she loves so dearly, right? So there's that's why I was like, this is like fated mates, right? I was very interested to see what happens if there would be like a banging, if they like would really like fuck that magic on. And then like, but I didn't quite get that. And then there was the forced proximity. Like, yeah, you're here and we're rich. You don't need a whole lot of game, at that point to win somebody over. Like, hey, yeah, you're stuck with me. You can't go anywhere. And if you do, you're going to come right back. You could off yourself to get out of this. That's no fun. You could off me. That's probably not going to be fun for you either. I'm really difficult. I'm fast. But like, so then it's like this, it leans into Stockholm syndrome where it's just like, okay, well, you're a really nice owner of me. Thanks. I like you a lot now. So I'm really struggling with the romance side of things. I don't know. 2.5. I'll give it 2.5. Can I give it 2.5? 2.5. That's where I'm at.
Okay. Kelly?
I agree with Ashley. I think the romance was the fairly typical fated mates crap, which if people like that, hey, more power to you. I don't find it particularly compelling. It didn't do anything for me. So I just gave it a 2.
Okay. Actually, I'll say one thing before I say what I want to say about romance. I forgot to say, back in the world building, something that happened early on in the book that got my expectations up, along with the whole it being in New Orleans, is in the very first scene in the hospital, they talk about like having some of the clothes on backwards. Some people having some of the clothes on backwards. And I was like, oh, cool. They're bringing in like folktale stuff about the Fae, like old, supposedly if you wear an article of clothing inside out, you can't be glamored by the Fae. That's like an old folktale thing. So I was like, ooh, that's really neat. And then everything went downhill from there for me, for my expectations. So romance romance was really bad for me in this one. I don't know if it's because I was already not vibing with the book, but I felt like it was these are the two characters, therefore they will be together. I did not feel like it was fated mates because I didn't feel like there was no prophecy. There was no like physical response. I didn't think there was anything. I couldn't tell what was bringing them together, what was pulling them together, to be honest. I feel like the ring had something to do with it. I think he called her. Mind you, I've only read this book. I didn't read the sequel.
Same.
Yeah, I feel like she's probably some sort of secret royalty or something, and he was able to tell that because of the ring, and that's why he calls her princess. That was my my thought as I was reading it. But that doesn't, just because she's royalty doesn't necessarily mean that they're fated. Because, I mean, there were other royal fae that he wasn't necessarily fated to. I felt like this was trying to do like a hate to love kind of thing, enemies to lovers, in that, you know, she hates him because he brings this drug into the town that's killing all these people that she has to see die in her emergency room shift after shift. And then she meets him and it's, oh wait, but he's hot. And I guess that was it. That was enough for like romance for her. The vibe I got anyways. Yeah, and the fact that it was never, the drug thing was never addressed. It was just like, oh, I didn't know people were dying. Like these puny little humans were dying. I don't know. Maybe it's because I didn't like him. But for me, the romance was a 1. This was a very Barbie and Ken doll stick them together situation. So it's a 1 romance for me.
I think you just complicated it for me because of you've added a 4th trope for me, enemies to lovers. Because I wasn't thinking about that, but when you said that, yeah, and I agree with you with the whole like, you know, like, so I think there are 2, like there's the common theme or three themes that maybe run throughout parts of the book. 1 where he keeps calling her a princess. Mm-hmm. 2 is the ring. Like that came up early. Mm-hmm. Didn't come up often, but came up early. And the 3rd one's like, yeah, nobody's ever bound by the fasting. Is it fasting? Fastening, the like tying the knot kind of thing.
The hand fasting. Yeah.
Hand fasting.
Like, but so I'm like, you know, like, ooh, right? But yeah, so there's like, now I'm up to like 4 tropes and I can't decide which one it's going in. Only Ashley knows. I'll have to wait for her off the mic to tell me. But like, so now I want to call it a cornotropia. You write it down.
You write it down. I'm going to forget in a minute.
You figure out how to spell that. Cornotropia?
Cornotropia. Yeah. We got the Smash Magic, Cornotropia, Banganing. That's where we're at so far.
What do we think about the spice?
Ooh. I think you get a lot of tension in book 1. You get a tiny little dabble of spice because she's trying to fight all her feelings, right? She feels some type of way. Mm-hmm. And so that's fine. I wasn't opposed to the spice. I thought it was, you know, I thought it was a good amount of spice. I'm glad that there was some spice. We've had some books lately where there's not any spice. So I'm glad that the spice is back. I'm here for that. But I think it was like a 2.5. I didn't think it was particularly spicy, but it was more than just salt and pepper.
Jonathan?
Yeah, no, when it happened, cool. I don't think it happened a whole bunch. So I would say I'm going to give it a 3. But you know, there's an asterisk next to it. That's all. I don't have a whole lot to say about it though. So
okay.
That's all I got.
That's all I have to say about that.
Kelly?
I also gave it a 3. I mean, it felt like it was fairly typical of most of the romance fantasy books we've read. As far as the spice goes, it wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't a whole little. Just felt kind of average.
For me, I thought the spice was like a 3.5, bordering on a 4. Like, I think it was probably the best thing that was done in the book. I don't think there was anything particularly memorable about any of the spice scenes, but I thought that they were fine when they were done. Like, they didn't seem forced. Like, I did feel like they were generally physically attracted to each other. Like, her getting over her "I hate you, I want to fuck you" thing, and then she just went for it. I still don't understand why he was being so weird about it. I don't know if that's explained in the second book, why he was being so like reticent about everything. I assumed there was more going on. So yeah, I'd say 3.5 for spice for me on this one. Final question. Do we think it's a kissing book?
Yes. You guys aren't going to like that one, but yes. I'm also influenced because I've read book 2, but I don't think that you get past the first couple of chapters without it being a kissing book.
Okay. Jonathan?
I don't think it's a kissing book yet. I think it could be a kissing series in the future, but I don't think it's a kissing book.
Kelly?
I also don't think it's a kissing book.
I think it is a kissing book because I don't think that the things would have happened that happened if they hadn't been romantically involved. Like, I think he would have just I don't know, without knowing what's going on with that ring, I think he would have just either brushed her off and never given her the potential for a bargain, or he might have just, I don't know, seen it to the end of the bargain. So I think there had to be some sort of interest between them like that for the events that happened in the book to happen. So I'm going to say yes, it's a kissing book. Anything else we want to say about the book?
I think it would make a great television series.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be a fantastic movie. It left me, I feel like it left me unread. But I think if you're the author and you're out here listening, cool. Thanks for sticking around so long. I'm sorry about my ratings.
Comparing her to chicken nuggets and ketchup.
Oh, my bad. Why you bringing up old shit?
Because you're the one that tried to throw me under the bus, bro.
It's called retaliation.
Yeah, I think maybe try, and because I'm not an expert, right? But maybe try making a fictional Southern Louisiana city to sprout this thing up, because then you could get like, you pull like the Batman Joker kind of thing, like it's there, and like bad stuff happens, but it's this fictional city it's just too close to reality, right? But then also go back and forth between the two worlds a little more often.
Yeah.
Help me build that space.
Yeah, I wanted to see more of the Fae world as well. I wanted there to be more involvement in that and more of that being fleshed out. I will say, I do think this is a great book if you have a friend or a family member who's into like mafia romance stories, and maybe you want to try and lure them into fantasy. Like, this is a great stepping stone between like mafia romance and fantasy and romantasy stories.
I brought that up at dinner tonight. I told my sister, I said, hey, we read this book. I was like, I didn't think it was extremely spectacular, but I actually did. I think you'll like it. And I think she just heard me say that. Let me recommend this book that I didn't really like.
Oh,
Just shut down. But I think that she, correct me if I'm wrong, Ash, is that sort of her vibe? Does she like some of that?
She's not opposed to dark romances, which can include the mafia romance genre. I think she leans a little bit more towards happy, fluffy stories, though.
Okay.
Like the cowboys and the sports romances and the why chooses. But she's not opposed, I don't think.
okay.
But you didn't really sell it either, dear.
No, I stopped because it got awkward.
You did awkward.
Sorry, my bad.
I hope Geneva Lee hears you can compare her to chicken nuggets and ketchup.
I'm totally going to speak to her at the convention and let her know that she's the inspiration. I'll probably give her a prize. Yes, she has won the 2025 Cornotropia Award.
Cornotropia.
I don't know what it looks like, but
dead.
if you get anything out of this, Cornotropia Award, 2025 Cornotropia Award goes to you.
Okay. Anything else about this book?
I am eagerly awaiting January for book 3.
Is that when the third one's coming out? Are you going to read the vampire ones, the ones before it?
I have not read the other ones, but I think I will try them.
See if it fleshes it out some.
I actually caught her on TikTok yesterday where she was kind of doing like a Q&A. So it must have been a live and then they just dropped it into a video, right? But she was very clear that you don't have to read the other series to be able to enjoy this one. So as you were like answering all the questions, hoping for more context of the world in the Filthy Rich Vampire series, I was like, nope, in my head the whole time. I was like, nope, that's not what she said. No, she said no. But apparently, I think what she was saying, and I didn't exactly hone in on it, is that I think she said she does contemporary romances, and that there's like a lot of books that she does in her contemporary romances, and that she always tries to leave it to where she can say that she's never like 1,000% done with each couple's story. She likes to leave, the door open for the same world of the series, but maybe different characters, but also the same characters. Like she's never just done. So I thought that was really interesting. And I enjoyed listening to her Q&A on TikTok yesterday. I don't mind a mafia romance. I mean, if we're going to make fun of somebody's taste, like look who I married, right? Like he's a little macho. He's a little alpha. He's a little fee fi fo fum. So it appeals to me, obviously.
Is there a staring contest happening over there right now?
No,
Yeah.
he's ignoring me.
I'm writing a
intensely.
definition for cornotropia right now.
Okay.
That's a really good one. High praise for that. Good job, dear. I love a good pun. I'm not good at them, but I enjoy them.
Yeah. All right. Unless we have anything else, I'm going to go ahead and start to wrap it up. All good?
Yes, Geneva,
Okay.
we hope to see you in October. Okay, bye.
Yes, absolutely. Before I go into our little outro thing, I will say we got a review. Somebody
We did?
We did. Yeah, somebody reposted us in their story on Instagram. It's Christian.Handel, Handel, and he's actually an author. He writes fantasy books, but they're in German. I couldn't find where they were translated anywhere. But if you speak German, if you read German, if you're wanting to read some German stories, you might want to check out his fantasy works. But he posted some pictures of we posted some of our stuff from Instagram. He said, just a few days ago, I've discovered Romantasy podcast of Swords and Soulmates, and it's so good. I am more a fantasy guy than a romantasy guy, but I just binged a handful of episodes as they are so good and entertaining. I guess thank you very much of Swords and Soulmates for this truly wonderful podcast. I mostly like that the hosts have a great part about bookish news in each and every episode. I thought that was sweet.
That's so thoughtful.
Yeah.
Follow, Christian.
Yeah, and Christian, if you ever get your books translated to English, let us know, please.
Please sign us up.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at this one on here as I'm not gonna be able to say it. I'm gonna try it. Fiendfluch. The second you see it, actually, you're gonna know that's my gal.
Oh no.
I don't know what he's telling me. I'm gonna have to read this with my meta glasses.
Have it translate for you.
Yeah. Oh, it's like it's my dream woman. Her silhouette.
Like, is it like Adele?
No, think dream villainous.
Like horns with like a big cape situation and some claws. Fine flute, right?
There's a claw and there's some horns. Ooh,
I didn't know that was your type.
that's my type.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Ein finsterer Fluch. Dein Wunsch soll erfüllt werden.
Well, see, now I need to know what that translates to. Somebody drop
know.
that into a translator.
Dream lady. That's what it sounds.
That's
Christian, message us. We need to know now.
Christian, we need to know.
I could probably just. If only there was a whole computer program.
Well, you're the one in front of the computer. I asked you to check it out.
Okay, let me take a look here.
I need closure.
Well, let's see. Let me just do some little copy.
A fairy in disguise, a grim curse. That's what Instagram translation is giving me.
What's it saying?
It says a fairy in disguise, a grim curse. Do you like atmospheric fairy tale adaptations that follow the dark roots of old stories yet surprise you with unexpected twists and strong characters? Then follow Calith and the wizard Thorn into the heart of the fairy realm. Calith wants to do the impossible, challenge the 13 fairy queens to become a terrible curse. Or to break a terrible curse and redeem the castle that sleeps beneath the thorns and all of its inhabitants. Fairy Curse is a romantasy adaptation of the Sleeping Beauty fairy tale that takes you deep into the realm of fairies. Be released
Christian.
October 31st, 2025.
Christian.
That's right up our alley.
Yeah, my guy.
Other than language.
You gotta help us out. You can't. The torture.
Yeah, I'll probably, if Christian, if you get these translated in English, I'll make up a word for you.
So tempting.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening to Of Swords and Soulmates. Before we go, make sure to check the show notes, rate and review, and subscribe to us on your podcast app of choice. It helps others to find us. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, Tome, or Goodreads at Of Swords and Soulmates. Check us out on our website, ofswordsandsoulmates.com. If you'd like to offer us a suggestion for a future episode, reach out to us at any of those options or email us. If you want to read along with us as we prep for a new episode and get chapter by chapter interaction, join our Fable app book club by searching for the Of Swords and Soulmates book club on that app. And last but not least, we hope you'll join us in 2 weeks for our next episode when we will be discussing Dating and Dismemberment by A.L. Brody, another author that's also set to appear at the Romantasy Con event.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Tschüss.